Veltara pressed herself against the cold metal wall of Station Meridian 7. Her hands shook as she tried to make herself smaller, invisible. 3 station guards walked past, their boots heavy on the floor. They were looking for her. They were always looking for people like her. She touched the mark on her forehead. The scar was old now, but it still hurt. Her family had cut her there during the ceremony. The ceremony where they said she was no longer their daughter. The ceremony where they said she was no longer Sikari at all. Among her people, everyone could speak with their minds. Everyone could hear the thoughts of others. Everyone except her. She was born silent. Born broken. Born wrong. A Sikari without telepathy was like a human without a body. That's what they told her. She remembered her mother's last words, spoken out loud because Veltara couldn't hear thoughts. "You are dead to us." Then they had cut her forehead and sent her away. She was 12 years old. Now she was 23. She had survived 11 years alone. She cleaned toilets, hauled trash, and did the work that no one else would do, the work that telepathic beings thought was beneath them. She ate scraps and slept in maintenance tunnels. This was her life. Across the station, in a different section, Cross sat in the shadows of a cargo bay. His 4 arms were crossed over his chest. The scars on his primary arms burned. They always burned. The marks of shame, cut deep into his flesh by his own clan. Cross was Moldrin. His people were warriors. They lived for battle and honor. They believed that mercy was weakness. They believed that compassion was a disease in the blood. When Cross had refused to kill the prisoners, when he had let them go free, his clan had been horrified. They called him blood coward. They held him down and cut his arms. The cuts were placed exactly where a Moldrin warrior would grip his weapons. Now no other Moldrin would fight beside him. Now he could never hold weapons in honor again. They had exiled him and sent hunters to kill him. He had killed the hunters instead. But he took no joy in it. He just wanted to leave. To go somewhere far away where no one knew what he was, where no one would see his scars and spit at his feet. In the engineering section of the station, Pip worked on a broken power conduit. Her 6 legs moved quickly, her small hands fixing wires and checking connections. She was good at this work. Her people, the Kicks, were all engineers. They built everything in the hive together. One mind, many bodies, all working as one. But Pip had no hive anymore. The plague had killed them all. 3,000 voices in her head, all singing together, and then suddenly they were gone. The silence had nearly killed her. She had screamed for days. She had clawed at her own head, trying to make the voices come back. Other hives had rejected her. A Kix without a hive was unnatural. It was wrong. It was cursed. They said she carried the plague. They said she was dangerous. They chased her away from every colony, every station where Kix lived. So she drifted alone, hearing phantom songs of her dead hive, slowly losing her mind. The station alarm suddenly blared. Pip's antennae twitched in fear. She heard guards shouting. She heard someone running. Then she heard something else, a voice. Speaking in a language she barely knew. Human language. "Leave her alone!" Veltara had been caught. The guards had found her drinking from a public water fountain. They said she had contaminated it with her presence. They were beating her with shock sticks. She curled on the ground, trying to protect her head. Then a human stepped between her and the guards. He was older, maybe 50 years, with gray in his hair. He wore a simple ship captain's jacket. His name was Day. "She was just getting water," Day said firmly. "This deviant has no rights," one guard said. "She is nullified, not a person under council law." "She looks like a person to me," Day replied. The guards moved to push him aside. Day didn't move. Instead, he hit the first guard in the face. Hard. The guard fell. The other guards rushed at him. Day fought back. But he was one human against 5 armed guards. A woman appeared behind the guards. Her name was Hana, and she was Day's navigator. She held a cargo hook and swung it at the nearest guard's leg. He went down screaming. A younger man, Wu, grabbed another guard from behind. In the chaos, Day pulled Veltara to her feet. "Run!" he shouted. They ran through the station corridors. The guards chased them. They ran past the cargo bay where Cross was hiding. Cross saw the human captain helping the Sakari outcast. He saw the guards chasing them. Something in his chest tightened. He stepped out of the shadows. When the guards ran past, Cross grabbed two of them and threw them against the wall. They didn't get up. The other guards stopped, shocked. A Moldrin was helping the outcasts? "Go!" Cross shouted to Day. They ran together now. 4 humans and 2 outcasts. They ran past the engineering section. Pip heard the commotion. She looked out and saw them running. She saw the guards following. She saw one of the guards raising his weapon to shoot. Pip didn't think. She just acted. She jumped from her hiding spot and landed on the guard's back. Her mandibles clicked near his throat. He screamed and dropped his weapon. The others scattered. "Come on!" Day yelled to Pip. They all ran to the docking bay. Day's ship, the Dai Yang, was there. It was old and patched, but its engines were running. Hana ran ahead and lowered the cargo ramp. Wu helped Veltara up the ramp. Day pulled Cross inside. Jin, the ship's weapons officer, grabbed Pip and carried her aboard. The ramp closed. The station security was pounding on the hull. Station control was screaming over the radio, demanding they surrender the outcasts. Day walked to the bridge. Hana was already in the pilot's seat. "We ready?" "Ready," she said. "They'll never let us dock at a council station again," Wu said quietly. "I know," Day replied. "They could arrest us, blacklist us," Jin added. "I know that too." Hana looked at her captain. "You sure about this?" Day looked back at the 3 outcasts. Veltara was bleeding from the beating. Cross's scars were visible on his arms. Pip was shaking, her antennae twitching wildly. They all looked terrified. They all looked like they expected to be thrown out the airlock at any moment. "They're people," Day said simply. "That's enough for me." The Dayang pulled away from Station Meridian 7. Security ships tried to follow, but the merchant vessel was fast. Soon they were in hyperspace, jumping away from Council territory. In the cargo hold, Veltara touched her wounded face. Cross stared at his scarred arms. Pip heard the phantom songs of her dead hive. They were all broken. They were all cast out. They were all alone, except now maybe they weren't alone anymore. Sol, the ship's medic, came into the cargo hold carrying medical supplies. She smiled at them gently. "Let me look at those wounds," she said. None of them moved. They didn't understand. Why would anyone help them? What did these humans want? Sul knelt beside Veltara. "It's okay," she said softly. "You're safe now." Veltara started to cry. She had not cried in 11 years. She had forgotten how. Sul cleaned Veltara's wounds with gentle hands. The Sakari woman flinched at every touch, expecting pain, but Sul was careful. She applied medicine that made the wounds stop hurting. Then she wrapped them in clean bandages. "There," Sul said. "All done. You should rest now." Veltara stared at her. "What is the cost?" she asked quietly. Sul looked confused. "Cost? There's no cost. You were hurt. I'm a doctor. I help people who are hurt." "No cost?" Veltara couldn't believe it. "No payment? No service required?" "No," Sul said simply. She stood up and smiled. "Come on. Let me show you where you can sleep." Sul led Veltara to a small cabin. It had a bed, a desk, and a small window that looked out into space. It was clean. It was private. It was more than Veltara had seen in 11 years. "This is for me?" Veltara whispered. "Yes. It's not much, but it's yours while you're here." Sul turned to leave, then stopped. "Are you hungry?" "Dinner is in an hour. Join us if you want." After Sul left, Veltara sat on the bed. It was soft. She lay down slowly, afraid it might disappear. She stared at the ceiling. These humans made no sense. No sense at all. Down in the cargo bay, Cross was lifting heavy containers. He expected this. Manual labor was what outcasts did. He waited for the guards to come, for the chains, for the punishment duties. Instead, Jin came down with 2 cups of something hot and steaming. He handed one to Cross. "Coffee," Jin said. "It'll help with the heavy work." Cross took the cup carefully. He sniffed it. It smelled strange, but not bad. He drank a little. It was bitter and hot. Jin drank from his own cup, watching the Moldrin. "Those scars," Jin said, pointing at Cross's arms. "Those are warrior marks, aren't they?" Cross tensed. "Shame marks," he corrected. "I am blood coward, exile." Jin studied him. "What did you do?" "I refused to kill prisoners. I let them escape." "Sounds like the right thing to do to me." Cross's 4 arms trembled. No one had said that before. Ever. "Your people see it differently?" "We see mercy as strength," Jin said, "not weakness." He paused. "We're setting up defensive systems tomorrow. I could use someone who knows Moldrin tactics." "Interested? You want my help?" Cross couldn't hide his shock. "You want my opinion?" "Yeah. You know how your people fight. That's valuable." Jin finished his coffee. "Think about it." Jin left. Cross stood there holding the cup. His hands were still shaking. Someone had asked Blood Coward for tactical advice. Someone had asked for his opinion. He sat down heavily on a crate and covered his face with his primary arms. In the engine room, Pip was having a breakdown. The engines made a deep thrumming sound. It reminded her of the Hive songs, the songs that were gone. She started scratching at her carapace, making clicking sounds of distress. Wu heard the noise and came running. He found Pip clawing at herself, her antennae flat against her head. He didn't grab her. He didn't try to stop her. He just sat down a few feet away. "Hey," he said softly. "I know it's loud in here. I know it hurts." Pip kept clicking, kept scratching. "I lost my family too," Wu said. "Ship accident. I was the only one who survived. I still hear them sometimes. In my dreams. It never really goes away, does it?" Pip's antennae slowly raised. She stopped scratching. She looked at this young human who sat with her while she fell apart. "I have external sensor repairs to do tomorrow," Wu continued. "Outside the ship. It's quiet out there. Just stars. Would you help me, if you want?" Pip made a soft clicking sound. It was the kick sound for maybe. "Okay," Wu said. "No pressure. The offer stands." He stood up slowly. "There's food in the galley when you're ready. And Pip, you're not alone anymore." He left her there. Pip sat in the engine room listening to the false Hive songs. But now there was something else. A new sound, not a Hive song. But something, a small something. A maybe something. An hour later, the crew gathered in the galley for dinner. Hana had cooked something that smelled good. The humans sat around the table, talking and laughing. They argued about the best route to take. They joked about Jin's bad cooking from last week. They were loud and chaotic. Veltara watched from the doorway. She didn't know if she was allowed to enter. Among the Sakari, eating had strict hierarchy. The telepaths ate first, then the workers, then the servants. Broken ones like her ate scraps. Sol saw her and waved. "Come on, food's getting cold." Veltara walked slowly to the table. Everyone made room. Hana put food on a plate and handed it to her. No one asked her rank. No one asked what she was worth. They just gave her food. The door opened again. Cross stood there, his 4 arms uncertain. He had never eaten with non-Moldrin before. Among his people, exiles ate alone or not at all. "Cross!" Day called out. "Grab a seat, there's plenty." Cross sat down. Jin passed him a plate piled high with food. The warrior stared at it. This was more food than he'd eaten in weeks. Pip was the last to arrive. She came in slowly, her 6 legs moving nervously. Kix ate in groups, but it was always hive groups. Never mixed species. Never individuals choosing to eat together. Wu pulled out a chair. "Saved you a spot," he said. Pip climbed into the chair. Sol put food in front of her. The humans continued talking, arguing, and laughing. They included the outcasts in their conversation. They asked questions. They listened to answers. Veltara ate slowly. The food was good. But that wasn't what made her cry. It was the way no one stared at her scar. The way no one treated her like she was invisible. Cross ate with all 4 hands, the Moldrin way. No one looked disgusted. Jin asked him about Moldrin battle tactics. Asked him. Like his knowledge mattered. Pip listened to the chaos of voices. It wasn't a hive song. It was messy and loud and disorganized. But it was together. They were together, by choice. After dinner, Day received a message. His face went dark as he read it. He called the crew to the bridge. The 3 outcasts followed hesitantly. "The council issued a warrant," Day said. "For us. For harboring nullified entities." He looked at Veltara, Cross, and Pip. "They want you back. They're threatening to blacklist us from all council space if we don't comply." Silence filled the bridge. "We can drop them at a neutral station," Hana said softly. "No one would blame us." Veltara's heart sank. Of course. Of course it ended this way. It always ended this way. "No," Wu said firmly. Everyone looked at him. "No," he repeated. "We don't abandon people." Jin nodded. "I'm with Wu. Screw the council." Sul crossed her arms. "I didn't become a doctor to hand people over to die." Hana sighed. "I know some routes through frontier space, human colonies. They won't ask questions." "It'll cost us everything," Day warned. "Our licenses, our contracts, everything." "Some things are worth more than contracts," Jin said. Day looked at his crew. They all nodded. He turned to the 3 outcasts. "It's your choice, too. We can take you somewhere safe or you can stay with us. Either way, we're not handing you over." Veltara couldn't speak. Cross's hands trembled. Pip's antennae vibrated with emotion. "Why?" Veltara finally whispered. "We're nothing. We have no value. Why risk everything?" Day walked over to her. He looked her in the eyes. "My grandfather was cast out from his home. Different reason, different world. But someone helped him anyway. Someone risked everything. That's what people do. That's what family does." "We're not your family," Cross said hoarsely. "Not yet," Hana said with a small smile. "But give it time." The 3 outcasts looked at each other. Veltara saw Cross's scarred arms. Cross saw Pip's shaking antennae. Pip saw Veltara's wounded forehead. They were all broken. They were all worthless. But these humans didn't see them that way. These strange, weak humans were willing to lose everything for 3 beings they'd just met. "I want to stay," Veltara said quietly. "Me too," Cross added. Pip made a clicking sound, the kick sound for yes. Day smiled. "Then let's get you home. Human space, where people are people, no matter what." The Daiyang turned away from council territory. They plotted a course to the frontier, to human colonies, to a place where being different wasn't a crime. Behind them, council ships began their pursuit. But ahead of them was something new, something the 3 outcasts had never had before. Hope. The alarm screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed in every corridor. On the bridge, Hana's fingers flew over the controls. "3 ships on our tail," she called out. "Sicari Enforcer class, they're faster than us." Day gripped his captain's chair. "How long until we reach human space?" 4 days at current speed," Hana replied. "We won't last 4 hours. Jin said from the weapons station. "Our shields can't take military-grade fire." In her cabin, Veltara heard the alarm. She knew that sound. Sakari ships. They were coming for her, coming to drag her back or kill her. She pressed her hands against the wall, trying to stay calm. Then she heard Day's voice over the ship intercom. "Everyone to emergency stations! This is not a drill!" Veltara ran to the bridge. Cross was already there, his 4 arms ready. Pip scuttled in behind them. The humans were at their stations, focused and tense. "What can we do?" Cross asked. "Stay strapped in," Jin said without looking away from his controls. "This is going to get rough." The first blast hit their rear shields. The ship shook. Lights flickered. Wu's voice came over the comm from engineering. "Shields at 70%. I'm rerouting power, but we can't take many more hits like that." A second Sakari ship appeared on the sensors. Then a third. They were surrounding the Dayang, cutting off escape routes. "They're hurting us," Hana said. "Trying to box us in." Veltara watched the screen. She saw the pattern of the Sakari ships. She had spent years on Sakari stations, watching their security forces, watching how they moved, how they thought. She knew this pattern. "They'll feint left," she said suddenly, "but attack from above." Everyone looked at her. "How do you know?" Day asked. "I watched them for 11 years. I saw everything because no one saw me." Veltara pointed at the screen. "The lead ship will fake a left approach. The others will strike from above while you're dodging." Hana looked at Day. He nodded. "Trust her," Day said. The Sakari lead ship moved left. Hana didn't follow. Instead, she dove the Dayang down. The other 2 Sakari ships fired at where they expected the merchant vessel to be. Empty space exploded with weapons fire. "She was right!" Hana shouted. "We dodged it!" Another hit rocked the ship. Shields dropped to 50%. They couldn't keep running forever. "We need to disable one of their ships," Jin said. "Even the odds." "Their shields are too strong," Day replied. Cross stood up. "No, not if you hit the right spot." He walked to Jin's station. "May I?" Jin slid aside. Cross studied the tactical display with all 4 eyes. "Sakari ships have strong shields, but Moldren ships are built to fight them. There's a weak point," he pointed. "Here, where the shield generator connects to the hull. If you hit it exactly right, the shields collapse." "That's a tiny target," Jin said. "I know, but it's the only way." Jin took over the weapons. "Tell me when." Cross watched the enemy ship's position, watched its movements. His clan had trained him since childhood to find weaknesses, to strike with precision. That training had never left him, even after the scars. "Wait!" Cross said. "Wait! Now!" Jin fired. The shot streaked through space and hit the exact spot Cross had indicated. The Sakari ship's shields flickered and died. It turned to limp away, defenseless. "2 left," Hana said. "But more are coming. Long-range sensors show a Moldren warship approaching." Cross went very still. "Clan markings?" Hana checked. "Red Fang on Blackfield." "My clan," Cross whispered. "They're the hunters sent to kill me." The Moldren warship was massive compared to the Dayang. It was built for war, built to destroy. It opened fire immediately. The shots were precise, deadly. They weren't trying to capture, they were trying to kill. "Shields at 30%!" Wu yelled over the comm. "I can't hold them!" The ship shook again, harder this time. Sparks flew from a console. Sewell ran to pull an injured crew member away from the flames. "Their targeting pattern," Day said urgently. "Can you predict it?" Cross stared at the screen. His clan, his own people. They fought the way he had taught them, the way he had fought beside them for years before his exile. "I know their commander," Cross said quietly. "His name is Varn, my cousin. He'll try to disable our engines first, trap us, then board us. He wants to kill me himself." When will he strike? Day demanded. Cross's hands curled into fists. He's circling, looking for position. He'll strike from our port side in 15 seconds. Hana! Day shouted. On it! Hana spun the ship hard to starboard just as the Moldrin ship fired. The shots missed by meters. He'll come around again, Cross said. Faster this time! Angrier! He hates being outsmarted. Then let's outsmart him again, Jin said. The battle continued. Every time the Moldren ship attacked, Cross predicted it. Every time the Sakari ships moved, Veltara warned them. They were surviving, barely. Then the engine stuttered. The ship slowed. What happened? Dai asked. Wu's voice came over the comm. He sounded scared. Main engine is damaged. We're losing power fast. In engineering, Wu stared at the damage. A blast had hit their primary conduit. The metal was melted. Wires were exposed. It was bad. Really bad. Pip appeared beside him. She had been hiding in the corner during the battle, but now she moved forward. She looked at the damage with her multiple eyes. I can fix it, she clicked. It's too dangerous, Wu said. You'd have to go into the conduit while it's still active. One wrong move and you'd be electrocuted. Kix built these engines, Pip replied. I know every wire, every connection. Pip, you could die. You saved me, Pip said simply. All of you. You didn't leave me behind. Now I don't leave you behind. Before Wu could stop her, Pip crawled into the narrow conduit. Her small body could fit where humans couldn't go. Wu activated his comm. Pip's attempting repairs. Stand by. Inside the conduit, Pip worked in the dark. The wires sparked and hissed. Heat washed over her carapace. She heard the phantom songs of her dead hive. But she also heard something else. Wu's voice talking to her over the comm. You're doing great, Pip. Just like the sensor work, remember? One connection at a time. She clicked in acknowledgement. Her small hands moved fast, connecting wires, rerouting power. A spark burned her leg. She kept working. Power's coming back, Wu said. You're doing it. Pip finished the last connection. Power surged through the conduit. The engines roared back to life. She crawled out, her carapace burned and smoking. Wu caught her and pulled her to safety. You did it, he said. You beautiful, crazy bug. You did it. On the bridge, the engines came back online. We have power, Hana shouted. But they were still outnumbered, still being hunted. The Moldrin ship was moving in for another attack, this time to finish them. Then something appeared on the sensors. Something big. New contact, Hana said. It's huge. It's human. A massive ship dropped out of hyperspace. It was a human carrier, the UES Soul, weapons bristling from its hull. It moved between the Daeyong and its attackers. A voice came over the comm, deep, authoritative. This is Captain Tay of the UES Soul. All vessels, stand down. The Sakari ships immediately backed away. The Moldren warship hesitated. Captain Day, Tay continued, you've caused quite an incident. The Galactic Council is demanding we hand over your passengers and arrest your crew for harboring criminals. Everyone on the bridge went quiet. Veltara felt her heart sink. They were going to be handed over after all. Cross's hands clenched. Pip's antennae drooped. Then Ty's voice changed. There was something in it, a smile maybe. I told them to file their demands in triplicate and shove them where the sun doesn't shine. Welcome to human space, Daeyong. You're under our protection now. Relief washed through the bridge. Sol laughed. Jin punched the air. Hana wiped tears from her eyes. The Council won't accept this, the Moldrin commander growled over open channels. You're protecting deviants, genetic waste. We're protecting people, Tay replied coldly. And if you fire one more shot in human space, we'll consider it an act of war. Your choice. The Moldren warship turned and jumped away. The Sakari ships followed. They were gone. Day leaned back in his chair. He looked at Veltara, Cross, and Pip. "See? Told you we'd make it." Veltara was crying. Cross was shaking. Pip was clicking softly. The sound kicks make when they're overwhelmed. "You're all insane," Veltara said through her tears. "Every single human is completely insane." "Yeah," Day agreed. "We get that a lot." The UES Soul escorted them the rest of the way. They jumped together through hyperspace, heading deeper into human territory, away from the Council, away from the people who said the outcasts were worthless. In the galley that night, the crew gathered. Everyone was exhausted. Everyone was wounded in some way, but they were alive. They were together. Jin raised his cup. "To the crazy bug who fixed our engines," Pip clicked happily. Wu raised his cup. "To the Sakari who saved our asses with her predictions." Veltara smiled, her first real smile in 11 years. Hana raised her cup. "To the Moldrin who knew exactly how to fight his own people." Cross nodded, all 4 hands wrapped around his cup. Day raised his cup last. "To family, the kind you choose." They all drank together, humans and outcasts. Different species, different worlds, different everything. But somehow, in this small ship flying through the dark, they had found something none of them expected. They had found home. The colony world was called Nova Sol. It appeared on the view screen as the Dayang approached, brown and dusty, with patches of green where humans had planted crops. Cities made of prefab buildings spread across the surface like scattered blocks. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't advanced. But it was alive. "Home?" Day said simply. Veltara pressed her face to the window. She had never thought about having a home. Not since she was 12. The word felt strange in her mind. They landed at the main spaceport. It was busy with ships of all kinds, human vessels mostly, but also some alien craft. Veltara tensed when she saw a Sakari courier ship. Cross growled low when he spotted a Moldrin freighter. Pip's antennae flattened. "Easy," Saul said gently. "This is neutral ground. No one will hurt you here." They walked down the cargo ramp together. The air was warm and smelled like dust and growing things. People moved everywhere, human and alien, working and talking. No one stopped to stare at the outcasts. No one pointed at Veltara's scar or Cross's marks. A woman approached. She was tall with short hair and tired eyes. She wore a governor's badge on her jacket. Her name was Young. "Captain Day," she said, "welcome back. I heard you picked up some passengers." "Governor Young," Day replied. "These are Veltara, Cross, and Pip. They need sanctuary." Young looked at the 3 outcasts. Her expression didn't change. "You're the ones causing all the fuss with the council?" Veltara wanted to disappear, to become small and invisible like she always did. But Day put a hand on her shoulder, supporting her. "Yes," Veltara said quietly. Young nodded. "Well, the council can complain all they want. You're in human space now. You're under human protection." She smiled. It was a tired smile, but genuine. "Welcome to Nova Sol. Let's get you registered as residents." Veltara couldn't speak. Residents, not refugees, not temporary guests, residents. Over the next few days, they settled in. Day's crew had cargo to deliver and repairs to make on the ship. The outcasts stayed with them. No one told them to leave. No one said it was temporary. Veltara wandered the colony streets. She watched humans working alongside aliens of all kinds. She saw a Moldrin selling fruit next to a human baker. She saw a Kix colony member arguing with a human engineer about the best way to fix a water pump. They were arguing, but not fighting, just talking, discussing. She found a small research building. The sign said, Interspecies Institute. Curious, she went inside. A woman looked up from her desk. She was young with bright eyes behind thick glasses. Her name was Na. "Hello?" Na said cheerfully. "Can I help you?" Veltara touched her scar self-consciously. "I'm sorry. I was just looking." "Are you Sakari?" Na asked. She didn't sound disgusted, just interested. "I was," Veltara said carefully. "I am broken. No telepathy." Na's eyes widened. Oh, that's fascinating. I mean, sorry, that must be difficult. But from a research perspective, that's incredibly rare." She stood up quickly. "I'm Na. I study interspecies communication. Would you be willing to talk with me? I'd love to learn about your perspective." "My perspective?" Veltara repeated. "Why?" "Because you see Sakari culture without telepathic bias," Na explained. "You can observe behaviors that other Sakari can't see because they're immersed in the telepathic network. You're like an outside observer, but with inside knowledge. That's invaluable." No one had ever called Veltara's condition valuable. Ever. Over the following weeks, Veltara worked with Na. They documented Sakari behaviors, social patterns, communication styles. Things that Veltara had noticed during her years of being invisible, things that no telepathic Sakari had ever recorded because they couldn't see them. Their first paper was published. It sent shockwaves through the xenobiology community. Veltara's observations revealed biases in Sakari society that no one had recognized before. Other researchers reached out. They wanted to know more. They wanted to work with her. "You're not broken," Na told her one day. "You just see the world differently. That's a gift." Veltara looked at her scar in the mirror that night. For the first time in 11 years, she didn't hate what she saw. Cross found his path differently. The colony had threats. Pirates raided sometimes. Wildlife from the unsettled regions attacked farms. Governor Young asked for militia volunteers. Cross went. He expected to be turned away. Blood cowards didn't serve. Exiles didn't fight. But the human militia captain just looked at his forearms and nodded. "You know how to fight?" "Yes," Cross said. "Then you're in. Report tomorrow at dawn." The militia was strange. They trained not for glory, but for protection. They learned to disable, not kill. They practiced mercy strikes and non-lethal takedowns. One young human, Bin, was in Cross's training group. He was eager but reckless. During one exercise, Bin went for a killing strike. Cross stopped him. "Why?" Bin asked, frustrated. "In a real fight, you kill or be killed." "No," Cross said firmly. "You fight to protect, to defend. Death is the last option, not the first." "But you're Moldrin. Isn't killing what your people do?" Cross looked at his scarred arms. "My people exiled me because I refused to kill prisoners. They called me weak, coward. They cut me and threw me away." He met Bin's eyes. "But here, humans told me mercy is strength, so I teach mercy now. Real strength is choosing not to kill when you can." Bin lowered his weapon. "My father says the same thing. I didn't understand until now." Cross began teaching combat classes. He taught Moldren techniques adapted for defense. He taught strategy and tactics focused on protection. Young soldiers learned from an exile that honor wasn't about glory. It was about the choices you made. One night, Bin asked him, "Do you ever regret it? Letting those prisoners go?" Cross thought for a long time. "No. I regret that my people couldn't see what humanity showed me, that mercy and honor are the same thing." Pip struggled the most. The colony needed engineers. Wu brought her to the main engineering guild. They welcomed her, but the work was chaotic. Humans talked over each other. They argued about methods. They changed plans constantly. It was nothing like hive coordination. Pip had a breakdown in the middle of a project. Too many voices, too much confusion, no harmony. She ran outside and hid behind a building, clicking distress sounds. Minji found her. Minji was a human engineer who had lost her family in a transport accident 3 years ago. She sat down next to Pip without saying anything. Just sat there. After a while, Pip's clicking slowed. "It's too messy," Pip finally said. "Too chaotic. I can't think. I need the hive songs. I know, Minji said softly. I still hear my daughter's voice sometimes, calling for me. I know she's gone, but I hear her anyway. Pip looked at Minji with compound eyes. You understand? Yeah. Grief is grief, no matter what species you are. They sat together in silence, two beings from different worlds, sharing the same pain. Slowly, Pip returned to work. But Minji helped her see something. Humans didn't work like a hive, but they still collaborated. They just did it differently. Each person brought their own ideas. They combined them through discussion, not mental linking. Pip started teaching human engineers KICS methods, efficient routing, optimal placement, systems thinking. The humans adapted her methods to their individual style. Productivity increased. Projects finished faster. One day, Wu told her, "You're a natural teacher, Pip. Ever think about running your own engineering team?" Pip's antennae raised. Me? Lead? Why not? You know the work. You understand both KICS and human methods. You could create something new. Pip became the head of the colony's infrastructure project. She led a team of humans and aliens blending different approaches. It wasn't a hive mind. It was something else, something new. She still heard the phantom songs of her dead hive, but now there were other sounds too. Human laughter, the clang of tools, the satisfaction of building something together. 6 months passed. The Daiyang stayed docked at Nova Sol. The crew took local contracts, but something had changed. The ship felt different now. It felt bigger, because Veltara, Cross, and Pip weren't passengers anymore. They were crew. They were family. One evening, Day gathered everyone at a local bar. The whole crew, including the 3 who had once been outcasts. He raised his glass. To new beginnings, he said. They all drank. The bar was full of humans and aliens, all mixing freely. Veltara saw a Sakari courier sitting with human merchants. The Sakari glanced at her scar but didn't look away in disgust, just nodded in greeting. Cross saw Muldren freighter crew. They saw his scars. One of them stood and walked over. Cross tensed. Those are shame scars, the Muldren said. Yes, Cross replied. What did you do? I showed mercy when I was ordered to kill. The Muldren studied him for a long moment. Then he did something Cross never expected. He saluted. A warrior's salute. True honor, the Muldren said and walked away. Pip clicked happily. She was sharing Earth music with a group of young humans. They were teaching her to dance. She was terrible at it, but they all laughed together. Veltara smiled. She had a meeting tomorrow with researchers from 3 different species. They wanted to learn from her. They valued her insights. Cross had a training session planned. More young soldiers to teach. More mercy to spread. Pip had a big infrastructure project starting. A new water system for the colony's expansion. They had purpose. They had work. They had people who cared about them. But then Governor Young entered the bar. Her face was grim. The room went quiet. I just received a message from the Galactic Council, she announced. They're sending a compliance fleet. They're demanding we hand over all outcasts sheltering in human space. They gave us 1 week to comply. Silence, heavy and complete. Or what? Someone asked. Or they'll enforce compliance by military action, Young said quietly. The 3 outcasts stood up. Veltara, Cross, and Pip looked at each other. We'll turn ourselves in, Veltara said. We won't let you go to war for us. Sit down, Day said firmly. But I said sit down. They sat. Day stood and faced Governor Young. What's the vote? He asked. Tomorrow, Young replied. The Colonial Council will decide. Everyone knew what that meant. War or surrender, safety or sacrifice. That night, Veltara couldn't sleep. Neither could Cross or Pip. They met in the ship's galley, all thinking the same thing. They would leave, sneak away, save these humans who had given them everything. But when they got there, the entire crew was waiting, all of them. "We knew you'd try to run," Hana said. "You can't," Sul added. "You're family now." "We're not worth a war," Cross said desperately. Jin stood up. "That's not your call to make. Tomorrow would bring the vote. Tomorrow would decide everything, but tonight they sat together. Humans and outcasts, family. The Colonial Council chamber was packed. Every seat was filled. People stood along the walls. Veltara, Cross, and Pip sat in the front row with Day's crew. They watched as Governor Young stood at the podium. "The vote is simple," Young said. "Do we comply with the Council's demands and surrender all outcasts currently in human space? Or do we refuse?" A council member stood. His name was Inho. He was old and careful. "If we refuse, the Council will blockade us, cut off all trade, maybe attack. We're a small colony. We can't win a war." Another council member rose. Her name was Yoon. She was young and fierce. "So we just hand over innocent people? People who came here for help?" "We have to think about our own survival," Inho argued. "What kind of survival?" Yoon shot back. "The kind where we betray the people who trusted us?" The argument went back and forth. Veltara listened, her heart sinking. She had seen this before. When survival was at stake, the outcasts were always sacrificed. It was logical. It was practical. It was how the galaxy worked. Then a strange thing happened. People in the audience started standing up. A human farmer stood first. "I vote to refuse. My neighbor is a Kix outcast. She helped me save my crops when the blight hit. I won't hand her over." A human teacher stood. "I vote to refuse. I have 3 outcast students in my class. They're just kids. I won't let them be dragged back to die." One by one, people stood. Humans and aliens, workers and merchants, scientists and soldiers. They all said the same thing. Refuse, refuse, refuse. The vote was called. 97% voted to refuse the Council's demands. Young looked out at the crowd. Her eyes were wet. "Then it's decided. We stand together." She turned to a camera that would broadcast her message to the galaxy. Her face was calm, but her voice was steel. "Galactic Council. This is Governor Young of Nova Sol. You call them deviants. You call them genetic waste. You call them nullified. We call them by their names. Veltara, Cross, Pip, and thousands of others who came here seeking only a chance to live. You want to punish them for being different. We want to know them because they're different. That's the gulf between us. You see conformity as strength. We see diversity as strength. You have more ships, better weapons. You'll probably win if you attack. But understand this. We are humanity. We've been outcasts ourselves, cast out by nature, by circumstance, by each other. But we survived because we learned one thing. We survive when we refuse to abandon each other. So come ahead, enforce your compliance. But know that you're not attacking deviants today. You're attacking human citizens. And we protect our own." The transmission ended. Young turned to the crowd. "They'll come, probably within days. Everyone who can fight, report to the militia. Everyone else help with evacuations and shelters. We prepare for war." The crowd dispersed, but there was no panic, just grim determination. 3 days later, the Council fleet arrived. 30 warships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. They were massive, advanced, powerful. Nova Sol had maybe 10 defensive ships, merchant vessels mostly, with makeshift weapons. Every human ship in the sector came anyway: mining barges, science vessels, transport ships. They formed a ragged defensive line between the Council fleet and Nova Sol. The Dayang was among them, its old hull patched and its weapons ready. On the bridge, Day looked at his crew. Hana at navigation, Jin at weapons, Sul ready with medical supplies, Wu in engineering. And standing with them, Veltara, Cross, and Pip. Not hiding, not cowering, standing. "You should evacuate," Day said to the three outcasts. "No," Veltara said simply. "This is suicide," Day insisted. "Then we die together," Cross replied. "I told you once about Keshawara, dying well together. I choose this. I choose you." Pip clicked agreement. The Council Fleet's commander opened a channel. It was a Sakari admiral. His telepathic presence was overwhelming, even through the screen. "Human vessels, stand down, surrender the deviants or be fired upon." Every human ship responded the same way. "No." The admiral's face darkened. "Then you choose death." "We choose people over purity," Day replied. "Come and take them if you can." The Council Fleet advanced. Human ships spread out, preparing for battle. It wasn't even fair. It was slaughter waiting to happen. Then Veltara did something unexpected. She opened a broadcast on Sakari telepathic frequencies. She couldn't send thoughts, but she could send her voice, and every Sakari in the fleet would hear it. "My name is Veltara," she said. "I was born silent. My family cut me and cast me out when I was 12. I survived by being invisible, by watching, by seeing things that telepaths cannot see. I see you now. I see the enforcer crews who were ordered to kill me. I see the civilians who looked away when I was beaten. I see the commanders who called me genetic waste. But I also see something else. I see doubt. I see the ones who question these orders. I see the ones who remember someone they cast out, a family member, a friend, someone who was different and was punished for it. You were taught that outcasts are not people. But I am a person. I am alive. I am loved by people who see me not as defective, but as different, as valuable, as worthy. Humanity sees me. Do you?" The transmission ended. On the Council ships, something shifted. Veltara couldn't hear the telepathic conversations happening, but she could see the results. Ships hesitated. Formation broke slightly. Cross opened his own channel. To the Moldrin ships. "I am Cross, blood coward. I refuse to execute prisoners. I chose mercy over glory. My clan cut me and hunted me. But humans taught me that mercy is strength, that honor is not about killing, it's about the choices we make. I see the Moldrin warriors in this fleet. I know you were taught that compassion is weakness. But look at the humans. They face your weapons to protect beings they barely know. Is that weakness, or is that the truest strength?" His words rang through Moldren channels. Warriors who had been taught that emotion was disease heard one of their own speak of honor redefined. Pip broadcast to the Kicks. "I am Pip, hive lost, plague survivor. Other hives rejected me because I am alone, but I learned something. Connection is not just biological, it is chosen. These humans chose to connect with me, to work with me, to build something together. I hear my dead hive still, but I hear other songs now too. Songs of cooperation, of different minds working as one by choice, not programming. It is beautiful in a way my hive never knew. Thousands of outcasts on human ships added their voices, broadcast on every frequency, in every language, all saying the same thing. I am alive. I am a person. Humanity sees me." On the Council ships, crews faltered. Some refused orders. Some questioned their commanders. The absolute certainty that outcasts were not people was cracking. The Sakari admiral, enraged, ordered a full assault. Half his fleet didn't fire. Ships turned on each other as some enforced old orders and others refused. The battle became chaos, not human versus council, but council versus itself. Ships that had come to enforce compliance now fought about what compliance meant. A Moldren destroyer broke formation and moved to protect the human line. Its captain broadcast simply, "I remember my brother. He showed mercy once. I called him coward. I was wrong." A Kick scout ship withdrew, broadcasting, "Our hive refuses this battle. The silent ones deserve life. More ships broke away. The Council fleet fractured. The Admiral ordered the loyal ships to fire on Nova Sol directly. To end this, 10 ships moved forward, weapons charging. Every human ship moved to intercept. They knew they couldn't stop all the shots, but they would try. Then more ships appeared, dozens of them, jumping in from all directions. They were outcast ships, refugees who had heard the broadcasts, exiles who had found sanctuary in human space. They came to fight for the people who had taken them in. The battlefield was now even, maybe even tipped toward the humans and their allies. The Admiral saw his fleet falling apart, saw his certainty crumbling. He ordered a retreat. The loyal Council ships withdrew. But they left behind something important. They left behind doubt. The battle was over. Humans had won, not through superior weapons, but through something the Council had never faced before, through the voices of the ones they had silenced. 6 months later, Nova Sol had transformed. It was no longer a small frontier colony. It was a sanctuary world. Home to tens of thousands of outcasts from across the galaxy. The streets were a beautiful chaos of species and cultures. Buildings in architectural styles from 100 worlds, languages mixing and blending. It was messy and loud and imperfect. It was alive. Veltara ran the Interspecies Institute. It had grown into a major research center. Scientists from across the galaxy came to study cooperation, diversity, and the value of different perspectives. Her work had changed how many species viewed disability and difference. She stood in her office, looking at a photo. It showed her crew, her family, Day, Hana, Wu, Sol, Jin, Cross, and Pip beside her, all of them smiling. Cross trained the militia, but it wasn't just a militia anymore. It was an academy. He taught combat, but he also taught philosophy, honor, mercy, strength through compassion. Moldrin warriors came from across the galaxy to learn from the blood coward who had been right all along. He walked through the training grounds watching his students. Some were human, some were alien, some were outcasts, some were not. All of them learned that true strength was choosing mercy when you had the power to destroy. Pip led the engineering guild. Her hybrid methods, combining Kick's efficiency with human creativity, had become the standard for colony construction. She taught workshops. She mentored young engineers. She built things. She still heard her dead hive sometimes, but the pain was gentler now. She had learned that family wasn't just biological programming, it was choice, it was connection, it was love. In a bar on the main street, Day sat with his crew. The Day Yang was docked permanently now. They did local work, helped with colony expansion, took new outcasts on short journeys to show them their new home. A young girl approached their table. She was a species Day didn't recognize. She had scars on her face and fear in her eyes, the haunted look of someone who had been told they were worthless. "Is it true?" she asked quietly. "Do humans really accept everyone?" Veltara smiled and pulled out a chair. "Sit down. Are you hungry?" The girl nodded, tears starting. "Then we'll get you food," Cross said gently. "After that, we'll figure out the rest. Together." Pip clicked happily and handed the girl a menu. Day watched the scene and felt something warm in his chest. This was what humanity offered the galaxy. Not advanced technology, not military power, just a simple, radical idea. That everyone deserves a chance. That being different is not being broken. That family is what you choose, not what you're born with. The Galactic Council still existed. They still had their rules and hierarchies. But they had changed, too. Slowly, reluctantly, but changed. Because they had heard the voices of those they had silenced. And once you hear those voices, once you see those people, you can't unhear them. You can't unsee them. Some council worlds had started accepting their own outcasts back. Some had begun questioning their own definitions of normalcy. Some had looked at humanity's messy, chaotic, beautiful approach and wondered if maybe, just maybe, there was something to learn. The change was slow, painful, incomplete, but it was change. And it started because one human captain on a small merchant ship saw 3 outcasts being beaten and decided to do something about it. Not because it was smart, not because it was profitable, not because it was safe, just because they were people. And people help people. That night, Veltara, Cross, and Pip walked back to the Dayang together. Their home, their ship, their family. Veltara touched her scar. It would always be there. But it didn't define her anymore. She was not broken. She was Veltara, researcher, friend, family. Cross looked at his scarred arms, the marks of shame that had become marks of honor. He was not a coward. He was Cross, teacher, warrior, family. Pip heard the phantom songs of her dead hive. But they were quiet now, peaceful. She was not alone. She was Pip, engineer, creator, family. They had been cast out by everyone, rejected by their own species, told they were worthless, told they were not people. But humanity had embraced them, not despite their differences, but because of them. Not because they were useful, but because they were people, and that made all the difference. In a galaxy built on conformity, purity, and exclusion, humanity offered something revolutionary, a civilization built on one simple, beautiful, stubborn idea. Everyone deserves a place at the table. Everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves a chance, not because they're perfect, not because they fit some genetic ideal, not because they're useful, just because they're people. And in the end, that was enough.